You text them first again. You stare at your phone, watching the three little dots appear and disappear like a cruel game. Minutes turn into hours, and silence becomes the loudest sound in the room. You tell yourself they're just busy, that maybe they'll reply later. But deep down, you know that something shifted. The more you try to hold on, the more it slips away. And yet, you can't stop. You can't stop caring. You can't stop hoping. And you can't stop proving your worth to someone who doesn't even notice how much of yourself you're losing. You start doing things you never thought you would. Checking their story just to feel a glimpse of connection. Overanalyzing every word, every emoji, every pause. You tell yourself it's love, but it's not. It's fear, the fear of not being chosen. You confuse attention with affection, and effort with value. You chase because you think love is something you have to earn, something you have to convince someone to give you. But here's the cruel irony. The harder you try to be loved, the less lovable you appear. There's a strange paradox in the way human connection works. We believe that the more we give, the more we'll receive. But when you chase someone, what you're really saying is, you're the prize. I'm just here trying to win you. And people can feel that energy. They can sense the imbalance, the desperation, the anxiety, the hidden plea for validation. It doesn't matter how kind you are, how genuine your intentions might be, when your energy screams need, people instinctively pull away. Because no one wants to feel responsible for someone else's happiness. You start asking yourself, what's wrong with me? You replay conversations, wondering if you said something wrong. You tell yourself that maybe if you were more interesting, more confident, more attractive, maybe then they'd care. But the truth is, it's not about your looks, or your timing, or your worth. It's about your energy. The moment you start chasing, you stop being magnetic. Because chasing says, I need you to validate me. But magnetism says, I'm already complete. Imagine this, you're holding sand in your palm. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips through your fingers. That's what chasing feels like. The more you try to hold someone close, the more suffocating it becomes for both of you. They feel trapped by your effort, and you feel rejected by their distance. What started as affection turns into anxiety. You keep giving more, hoping they'll finally notice, but all it does is remind them that they have the power. You become predictable, available, and in a world where people crave mystery, you become easy to forget. But here's the secret no one talks about. People start to care when they sense that you don't need them to. It's not about manipulation, it's about energy. When you stop chasing, something inside you shifts. You stop radiating lack. You start carrying yourself differently, not with arrogance, but with quiet self-assurance. And that change is magnetic. Because nothing is more attractive than someone who could walk away, but chooses not to. Every relationship, every friendship, every connection you've ever chased has taught you this lesson in disguise. Love cannot be hunted down. It can only be met halfway. When you run after it, it hides. When you stop, it finds you. There's power in stillness. There's confidence in silence. And the ones who truly see you will never make you beg for their attention. Maybe that's what you needed to learn all along. That being cared for isn't about doing more, or proving yourself harder. It's about realizing that your value was never something you had to earn. Because when you stop chasing, you stop trying to be enough for someone else. And that's when you finally become enough for yourself. And maybe, just maybe, that's the moment everything begins to change. Because the second you stop running after what keeps running away, something happens. The silence stops feeling empty. The absence stops feeling painful. And the person who once ignored you begins to notice the difference. Not because you tried harder, but because you finally stopped trying at all. You've probably felt it, that confusing shift when you start caring more, and they start caring less. The moment you show genuine interest, they suddenly become distant. The more you try to connect, the more they seem to pull away. It feels unfair, doesn't it? You're just being honest about your feelings. You're giving effort, loyalty, and time, things people say they want. But somehow, your effort becomes the very reason they lose interest. It's one of life's cruelest ironies. Your kindness starts to feel like pressure, and your love starts to feel like a burden. The truth is, human attraction doesn't respond to logic. It responds to energy. When you chase someone, your energy tells them, you have something I need. And that message creates imbalance. Relationships built on imbalance don't feel like love. They feel like survival. When one person becomes the pursuer, the other unconsciously becomes the one with power, the chooser. And the moment that dynamic forms, connection starts to fade. Because love only breathes in freedom, not control. Let's be real. When someone gives you constant attention, validation, and reassurance without you having to earn it, a part of your brain stops valuing it. Psychologically, humans crave what feels uncertain, what challenges them. It's not that people are cruel or manipulative, it's that our minds are wired to desire what scares. When something feels guaranteed, it loses emotional gravity. So, when you make yourself too available, too predictable, you accidentally take away the very thing that fuels interest, the sense of wonder, the unknown. But here's the deeper layer. Chasing isn't just about wanting them. It's about wanting yourself through them. You're not really running after their love. You're running after the version of you that feels wanted, accepted, and safe in their presence. When you try harder each time they pull away, what you're really saying is, please don't make me feel unworthy again. You're not chasing a person. You're chasing peace. And that's where the pain multiplies. Because every time they withdraw, you push harder. Every time they stop calling, you try to remind them you exist. Every time they go cold, you give warmth, hoping it melts their indifference. But instead of creating closeness, it creates suffocation. The more energy you pour out, the less they give back. Why? Because they can feel that you're no longer operating from strength, you're operating from fear. Think of relationships like a scale. When one side becomes too heavy, with effort, emotion, or energy, the other side rises. Balance disappears. That's when they start feeling the weight of your need, not the beauty of your presence. They stop listening to your words and start reacting to your energy. And your energy says, I'll do anything to make you stay. That kind of energy isn't love, it's dependency. And dependency always repels the freedom love needs to survive. Here's a part no one likes to admit. The reason people pull away when you try harder is because you've unknowingly given them the emotional upper hand. You've placed them on a pedestal, while shrinking your own sense of worth. You start believing they're the one who decides your value. But no one wants to carry that responsibility, not even the person you're chasing. They start to feel your attachment as pressure, not affection. You might think your consistency should make them feel safe. But if your consistency comes from insecurity, it doesn't feel safe, it feels heavy. People don't run from love, they run from expectation. And when your every action whispers, please love me back, they feel it. Even silence carries that message. The more you try to prove yourself, the more they start to believe they don't need to. And that's how attraction quietly dies, not in betrayal or arguments, but in energetic imbalance. But the real heartbreak isn't that they pulled away. It's that you forgot your own gravity. You forgot that before them, you had a world of your own. You had peace that wasn't borrowed from someone's attention. When you start chasing, you step out of that world, you abandon your center, and in doing so, you make them your home. But no one wants to be someone's only source of meaning. The moment they sense that dependency, they instinctively retreat to breathe again. So when you wonder why they stopped caring the moment you started trying harder, remember this, your energy changed. You stopped showing up as the confident, grounded version of yourself, the version that attracted them in the first place, and started showing up as someone afraid of losing them. That fear, no matter how quietly it hides behind your kindness, is always felt. And yet, there's something beautiful buried beneath that pain, a chance to reclaim your balance. Because the truth is, people don't pull away from love, they pull away from pressure. They pull away from the invisible weight of your need. And once you release that need, once you stop begging for someone to stay, you don't just regain your dignity, you regain your magnetism. You stop chasing, not because you stopped caring, but because you finally understand, love cannot breathe in pursuit. It only thrives in presence. And maybe the moment you let go of needing them to care, is the exact moment they finally do. There comes a day when something inside you simply breaks, not in anger, not in sadness, but in exhaustion. You wake up and realize you're tired of proving your worth, tired of waiting for their attention, tired of reading between the lines, tired of fighting battles you were never meant to fight alone. It's not that you stop caring, it's that you finally stop begging. You stop chasing after clarity that was never meant to be yours, and in that quiet surrender, something powerful begins to shift. Detachment doesn't happen all at once. It's not a dramatic scene or a loud declaration. It's subtle. It starts when you stop checking your phone first thing in the morning. When you stop crafting the perfect reply. When you no longer build your day around whether or not they reach out. You begin to reclaim tiny moments that once belonged to them and give them back to yourself. That's the power of detachment. It's not coldness, it's self-respect in motion. For so long, you were told that caring means holding on, that love means effort, that proving your loyalty will make someone stay. But true strength is found in the ability to let go, not in bitterness, but in peace. When you detach, you stop trying to control the narrative. You stop fighting reality. You let people be who they are, and you stop twisting yourself into shapes to fit their indifference. That's when the energy changes. The moment you stop chasing, the balance begins to return. People often mistake detachment for not caring. But detachment isn't about apathy. It's about freedom. It's choosing not to let someone else's behavior decide your mood, your worth, or your peace. It's understanding that love isn't something you grip tightly. It's something that flows naturally when you're aligned with yourself. And ironically, the moment you stop trying to hold it, is the moment it begins to stay. There's a calmness that comes when you finally stop fighting for what doesn't fight for you. You begin to see things clearly. The anxiety fades. The noise in your head softens. You no longer crave constant reassurance, because your confidence no longer depends on someone else's attention. You rediscover the simple, quiet joy of being whole without needing to be chosen. It's almost mystical, how silence becomes your loudest power. When you stop explaining yourself, people start wondering. When you stop posting to prove your worth, people start noticing your absence. When you stop reaching out, they begin to remember your presence. Because nothing captures attention more than peace after chaos. When you no longer need their validation, they start questioning why they ever took it for granted. Detachment also brings clarity about what love truly means. It's not manipulation, not silence meant to punish, it's awareness. You stop chasing temporary highs of attention and start building permanent inner peace. You realize that no one completes you because you were never incomplete. And in that realization, you become unshakable. Imagine standing in front of a storm, calm and unbothered. The wind howls, the rain pours, but you stand still because you know who you are. That's what emotional detachment feels like. You stop reacting to every storm around you. You stop allowing every message, every delay, every cold response to shake your confidence. Your energy becomes centered. You stop trying to fix people and start protecting your peace instead. And something magical happens when you do. The same people who once ignored you begin to notice your silence. The same ones who once overlooked you start to question if they've lost something rare. But the beauty of detachment is that you no longer need them to notice. Their attention no longer defines your worth. It merely reflects it. You've become magnetic again, not because you played a game, but because you remembered your value. Detachment teaches you that control is an illusion. You can't make someone love you. You can't force someone to see your worth. You can only embody it, quietly, consistently, confidently. And when you do, your energy speaks louder than any words ever could. People feel it. They sense your peace, your presence, your quiet power. And that's what draws them back, not your effort, but your essence. You realize that walking away isn't weakness, it's strength disguised as grace. You stop chasing closure, stop demanding apologies, stop begging for clarity. You understand that silence can be the most powerful response of all. Because silence doesn't beg, it doesn't convince, it doesn't chase. It simply allows truth to reveal itself. And the truth is, the moment you stop needing anyone to choose you, you become unforgettable. The moment you stop proving your worth, people start to see it. Detachment isn't the end of love. It's the beginning of self-respect. It's the point where desperation turns into dignity, and noise turns into peace. So maybe this was never about making them care. Maybe it was about remembering your own power. The kind that doesn't shout, doesn't beg, doesn't chase. The kind that simply stands still and lets everything meant for it come home on its own. When you stop needing people to care, something incredible happens. They start to. Not because you played a game or pretended not to care, but because you finally returned to yourself. You stopped broadcasting desperation and started radiating peace. You stopped asking for attention and started giving it to your own growth. That's what makes you magnetic, not effort, but energy. Not chasing, but becoming. Magnetism isn't about arrogance or pride, it's about self-possession. It's when you carry yourself with quiet confidence, when your presence says, I know who I am. People feel that. They can sense when someone's worth is self-sustained. They're drawn to that calm certainty, because it's rare. Most people are constantly reaching outward, searching for validation, craving attention. But the moment you stop searching, you become the still point others revolve around. This doesn't mean you close your heart. It means you open it differently. You start connecting from wholeness, not from fear. You no longer try to impress or convince anyone to stay. You know that those who see your worth will naturally align with your life, and those who don't, they'll quietly drift away, making space for what's real. There's no anger in that. Just peace. Just trust. You begin to understand that nothing meant for you will ever need to be chased. And that peace makes you powerful. Because now your energy communicates something different. I am whole, whether you choose me or not. That vibration changes how people treat you. It changes what you attract. Opportunities flow easier. Conversations feel lighter. Relationships become mutual instead of one-sided. You stop chasing attention and start attracting respect. It's almost poetic. The moment you stop needing, you start leading. You lead by example. You lead by energy. You lead by showing others what it looks like to live without fear of loss. People will start coming back, not because you demanded it, but because you became the version of yourself that can no longer be ignored. The quiet one, the calm one, the centered one, the one who no longer needs validation to feel valuable. And as you stand in that power, you realize the lesson was never about getting them to care. It was about remembering that you don't need to chase love when you are love. You don't need to beg for attention when your presence already speaks loudly enough. The ones who truly see you won't need convincing. They'll recognize your energy and move toward it. So stop running after people who can't meet you where you stand. Stop shrinking to be understood. Stop over-explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. The moment you stop needing, everything shifts. You stop being a follower of love and become its leader. You were never too much. You were never unworthy. You were simply giving your energy to those who hadn't earned it. Take it back. Reclaim it. Because when you stop chasing, when you start standing still in your worth, that's when the world finally turns toward your stillness.